Hello, here to make another video. Just finished watching Ancient Aliens Season 11, Episode 11. I have to tell you guys, this used to be my favorite TV program, and now is a program that I don't watch. I watched this episode today for the heck of it. Just because I don't believe in Ancient Aliens. I was a huge Ancient Aliens believer. I watched this show religiously, and now since I became a flat earther, I just see I see it as all nonsense, and I really just watched this show to see how I view the world or my reality. And just right off the bat, there's so many things in here that just makes me laugh. It's just incredible, the things that I used to believe, and now I believe that we live on a flat earth. It's still something that I cannot debunk, or someone has not come forward and showed how flat earth is debunkable, but everything else is. Now, going back and looking at this Ancient Alien episode, and they're going to show some footage of landing on the moon, or our trip to the moon, and it totally looks fake to me. What do you say?
It does have some effect on us.
Since the time of the very first Apollo moon missions, researchers have pored over photos of the moon looking for structures, and they found some unusual things.
It's just all fake. It looks fake to me. It's just funny that how this moon landing in this episode, they go and talk about the Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin landing on the moon, and that when they came back, they were not excited that they were on the moon. They didn't express any like vibrant emotions as to, hey, we are the first people on the moon. In fact, what this show puts forward is that they admitted that there was no rejoicing. They looked like they were depressed when they came back. And according to the show, they looked depressed because they encountered some alien life forms, and I guess they knew that humans were in trouble because of these beings and whatnot. Again, the way they molded their conspiracy with the moon landing, and they actually admit that there was nothing, no emotions from the astronauts. They actually looked disappointed, which journalism actually done a video on this, and it's sort of like they saw his video, and then they came up with a conspiracy behind it to fit the alien conspiracy mold. Again, this is like these people are looking at flat earth videos and coming up with their own theories when we're pointing out fingers and saying, hey, what's going on here? And then they come out with this ancient alien, and they're like, oh, well, yeah, there was no emotion, but it was because of this. First, I want to point out right here, this looks fake, and they're actually going to make a confession right here on how the astronaut looks.
1 billion people worldwide are glued to their television sets as they watch the shadowy figure of astronaut Neil Armstrong slowly step off the ladder of the Apollo 11 lunar module.
So you actually heard him say shadowy figure. The reason he has to say that is because you can actually see Neil Armstrong right there in the bottom. You can see right through him. So here they are confessing, oh yeah, shadowy figure. It's just fake. and there's people that still believe in this. It's just amazing that they do. I'm just going to put on some more video.
Slowly step off the ladder of the Apollo 11 lunar module onto the surface of the moon.
That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
The moment marks one of the most important events in the history of civilization. It is the first time a human being has set foot on alien terrain.
Apollo 11 is what people think of when you talk about Apollo today, and Neil Armstrong setting foot on the moon. The moon is roughly 220,000 miles away from the Earth.
It's funny how these people, they get on TV and they're trying to explain a theory. I mean, sometimes I've round off and whatnot, but I mean, these guys are in primetime TV, and he's rounding off, and he's really short on the number. But if we look at the distance of the moon, because he says, oh, the moon is roughly 220,000 feet away, and it's actually 238. So it's a little off. If it were me rounding off, I would have said 233, 230, 240. But no, he totally was off by a lot.
That were not.
Here they're going to implicate that they saw
The astronauts
extraterrestrials.
apparently talked about seeing extraterrestrial objects on the moon, including flying saucers parked along the edge of a crater within their view.
Now, the truth of it is that each of the astronauts had a separate medical channel. That channel was not public, and it could have been very easily used to communicate information that you didn't want to be heard over the general public transmissions. What's really interesting about that story, though, is the fact that within 30 minutes of the landing on the moon, that story was circulating around NASA that, hey, guess what? They saw something on the rim of a crater. They were all upset. They didn't know what to do. They didn't know if they should go out.
It is interesting when you watch the feed of when they came back from the moon. They're not sitting there jumping up and down for joy and saying, I had the most incredible experience in my life. I was on...
Right there, they're actually admitting that there was no emotion from the astronauts. This has already in the flat Earth world been pointed out that if these men were on the moon, they should have been excited. I'll let the video continue.
The moon, they're not saying that. They look very sullen, very depressed. They're looking down. They almost look like they want to vomit. That's how disturbed they look. Could they have seen something there that they didn't want to tell the public because of the implications?
Yeah, they didn't land on the moon, and it was hard for them to be under all that stress and be part of a huge lie. Actually, I don't think they were feeling guilty at all, because they're Masons and they're part of the whole thing. I just think that they were just stressed out. All these cameras, all these people. Yeah, they're okay with the lie, but just they're worried about their performance and how they're gonna act on the lie. So that's my explanation for why the astronauts acted peculiar on that particular date. One last thing I want to point out is, I just wanted to point out 1968, December 24th, 1968, they took a picture of the Earth, an orbiter did. Funny thing about this picture, I never noticed this before, but there should, if the moon is a reflector of sunlight, which is not, but let's go according to their science. What is causing the shadow on Earth? Because this would indicate that the sun is behind the moon, and if the sun is behind the moon, casting that shadow on the Earth, then there should be a satellite, a solar eclipse happening at its halfway stage. So on this day when the picture was taken, that should have been happening. And again, if you're on Earth and you're looking up at the moon, there should be no moon, because the sun, well, there should be half a moon. The moon should be halfway eclipsing the sun. So this Earthrise makes no sense. At no time should a shadow of the moon be on Earth unless there is a solar eclipse. And thank you.